Alright, hello again YouTube. I just got done making some videos. Figured I'd make one more relatively short review type video. This is, as you could probably already read, it's an evinrude light wind boat motor. Um, you can obviously tell this motor has seen some better days. It's more of a trolling motor than anything. Obviously this is your handle. This is what you use to steer it. Um, and your throttle assembly is over here. This little guy, that's starter position slash idle, and then that's full running power. Yeah, and then you've got, like, this is your choke, your speed assembly, which I usually keep it up there, but when you're trolling, going relatively slow, you put it down there. That's your speed control. I know it's kind of worn out here. Choke, and then your carburetor adjuster screw, which is that's a nice thing to have. I wish more things had this like little carburetor adjustment screw like that. Like these weed eaters and chainsaws and all that stuff, you have to use screwdrivers or special pick tools in order to adjust the carburetor. This is just nice. I know it's kind of bulky and in the way, but it's nice to have that where you can just turn a knob and adjust the carburetor. I know that's just my opinion. Now we got this from my uncle. He actually bought a new one, like a new 3 horsepower one, and he just didn't want this one. He said he couldn't get it to run. He said spark was not coming out, so he's like, you can take it. Took it home with me, and let me get this it's got a little latch under here, right here. So you just pull that little latch, and then you can take the cover off. So, yeah, he essentially told me that this spark plug was working, but the bottom one wasn't. So these cables were new about 2 years ago when he put them on. He put them on. He put a new wheel up here. A couple of other new things like new cables, a new throttle piece here. He also put that on there. I forget what else. But as it turned out, I love my uncle, but he just didn't have the spark plug boot because there's a new boot. He never had it pushed in all the way. So I brought it home expecting to have to rewire it, or at best put somehow get at least a new spark plug, but which it probably could use, to be honest. But anyhow, that's the only thing he didn't replace was the spark plug, I think. Yeah, I ended up just pushing this in really hard, and it just popped on, and I pulled it over, and sure enough, it had spark. And I called him up, and I told him, I said, hey, it has spark, and he lives in Ohio. I live in upstate New York, so we're a ways away. We're like 6-hour drive apart. He said, and I quote, you better bring it back. I'm going to return the old one, or a new one. And he was joking, of course, but yeah, so I ended up doing that. We have a big pond out back there. I didn't drag the boat out there, but I brought this out on the 4-wheeler, and I backed the 4-wheeler into the water to the point where this was, the whole propeller was in the water, probably about here, up to these little gills. It was in there pretty deep, and I got the carburetor adjusted with it just sitting in the 4-wheeler. I adjusted everything, and it runs beautifully. Now, the only thing that went wrong, went on the lake, it gets very warm, and there was a lock nut that went around here that keeps this whole assembly on. It was missing the lock nut. When he put this new nut, when he put the nut on, he mentioned that he thought he might have lost it, but he wasn't sure, and I didn't really look at the time. So we got out there, this whole nut came loose, flew off inside the engine. I'm surprised it didn't break something. This whole thing came off, and it was so hot to the touch, and I didn't have any tools with me because it was the first time out with this motor. I ended up just paddling it back. Luckily, I was with somebody. We were able to paddle the boat back because this was our primary motor, because it's just a small John boat. It's a 4 horsepower motor, by the way, in case you're wondering. Yeah, so we ended up getting it back, put a lock nut on, tightened it down, and it's been pretty good ever since. So, and it also has, like, in case the pull start breaks, it has these little notches where you can start it like that with a rope. You put a little knot, put the rope in kind of like that, and then you pull start it that way if the pull cord over in the front, if this ever broke. But yeah, so that was the only thing that really went wrong with this motor. The only other thing is, I don't know how easily I'm going to be able to show you this, but this little assembly here, this is your throttle. It's not like some newer ones where you would pop this guy forward and you would use this to control. It's not like some of those newer ones because it's older. The only thing is that the only thing he did mess up, I don't know if he messed this up. I don't think he did because I don't think he touched this part. It doesn't stay in place. So these cords are really, they're new. They're not they don't have any slack to them. So if you watch, when I put this all the way forward, when I let go, it will, well, it doesn't do it because it's not running, but when it's running, it will start to slowly start going backwards until it gets to like the idle position. So if I put this at full throttle and we're going down the lake and I let it go, it should stay like it is. But what happens is it very slowly will start just going like this and slowing down until it just comes to an idle, which is incredibly annoying. So I gotta sit there essentially and drive this boat two-handed. I gotta hold one, kind of hold it like this, hold the throttle wide open, and then use my other hand on this to help steer. So it's a very big pain. And come to find out, the best way to do this, to fix it, is to take this bolt right where the top of my finger is, take that bolt out, along with this bolt right there, pull that out, disconnect this little piece right above my finger, take that piece out, take this whole entire throttle assembly out, and there's like a little groove in there. I don't know if you can see it on the right side. There's if my camera will focus down there. Right above my, like right on the tip of my finger is a groove. Right there. So that groove essentially is what's supposed to allow this thing to lock in place and keep it wherever you put it. See how I'm letting this thing go and it's just moving? That's without it running. But yeah, so essentially that groove just wore out, I guess, because I took it over to a buddy who worked on small engines and boats and stuff, and he said, best bet, take those two screws out, pop this cover off, and either replace this whole entire assembly piece, which I looked for and I could not find anywhere. It's very difficult to find. I think I found one. It was expensive. He said, or you could just get some duct tape it so it's very so the shaft in there is has no room, and you have to really struggle to get this cover back on with the two bolts. He said if you do that, it won't allow it won't let this slide back because it'll be too much friction, which I completely agree with. So that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing. But honestly, it runs beautifully. It runs really good. It has no hiccups. It starts right up and runs great. If I can fix that little guy, the throttle thing, I'll be golden. Now, the only reason I'm even doing this video is just to kind of say what I think of these old motors. I mean, it's a light wind motor. It's nothing, extravagant by any means. And just trying to get it back in the little notch. Put this guy back on. And obviously, we're not going to get to start this because you need water in order to start it. But one of these days when I'm out on the boat, maybe I'll take a quick, 2-minute video of me running it around. And there's their little operating instructions, instruction manual, which I do not have. Serial number, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. That's the first time I read that. I had no idea where this was built until just now. Yeah. And there's your like little stop, start, fast settings, and then there's your connection for the fuel. Honestly, would I buy this thing back in the day if it was brand new? Probably not. We have an electric trolling motor that runs on a car, not a car battery. It runs on, what kind of battery is that? It's not. It runs on an old marine battery. And that electric one, it's not super. It's quiet. It's definitely almost damn near silent, but it still makes noise. This one makes a little bit more noise. Obviously, it's gas, but it's quite a bit faster. That electric one we have is supposedly equivalent to 4 horsepower at full throttle, and I'm telling you, it's not. It's not even 2 horse. It's probably be like closer to 2 horsepower. I mean, this thing, I clocked it. We had it's not very scientific, but we had a speedometer thing app on our phones, and we had 2 different ones so we could see which one was more accurate. They both said we were around with 2 people weighing around 200 pounds, It said, I believe, a little over 5 miles an hour. It went from 4 miles per hour going against the wind to 5 miles per hour going with the wind. So if it's a perfectly calm, no wind, it's around 4.5 miles per hour. The electric one was like 2.5 at with the wind to its back, and on a normal calm day, it was like 2 miles an hour. So yeah, the electric one definitely is nothing compared to this one. That being said, they are trolling motors. They're not big bass trackers, those really, 80, 40, 60, 70,000, $80, $1,000 boats. It's a John boat meant for two people with a 4 horsepower motor. So, I mean, I know 5 miles an hour isn't much, but coming from an electric one where it went not even half that speed, it's a pretty big jump. So, for a free boat motor, it's pretty darn good. I mean, you can see this thing's it looks like it's been abused its whole life, and I know my uncle's had its entire life. He bought it new. I know he abused it. Not abused it, but he used a lot. He used it a lot, and it's still going strong. Everything, the pump, all the gills, the rudder, all that stuff is all original. Everything on here is original except for those cords, the plate under there, and I believe that's about it. There's only the new cords and the new plate, and the only reason he got new plate is just because he had to take it off anyways to get to those cords, and he figured he'd just replace it. And the only reason he replaced the cords was because he thought the cords were the problem as to why it wasn't getting spark, but it was just because he didn't put the spark plug boot on far enough. So, yeah, for a fairly all original boat motor that's going on, I'm not even sure if it tells me the date. I don't see a date on there. That's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping it would tell me when it was manufactured, but I know his motor is at least 15 years old. Right around there, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I believe it's around the 15-year mark, maybe 10, 12 years. I'm not 100% sure. It's old. It's pretty old. And it still runs strong. So, yeah, it was just a little review. Kind of an overview / review of this boat motor. And would I recommend it to somebody? If somebody had one of these at a garage sale, or, they saw one and they said, hey, my buddy wants to get rid of it. He doesn't have a boat anymore. Should I take it? Is it worth, putting like $30 in, getting a new cord, spark plugs, and this and that? I would definitely recommend it. It's a very durable engine and it runs great. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day.